Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to spend some time with me on the video, because today we're going to be talking about the most overrated bass fishing lures in the history of bass fishing. There's quite a few of them, but I've laid out 5 here that I'm going to talk about that get a lot of attention. You hear a lot about them, but they really don't produce that many fish. So we're going to get into that in today's episode. Also, guys, quick invitation. I'd just like to invite everybody, if you haven't had a chance, to please consider hitting that subscribe button here to the channel. Free and easy to do so. Right now, we've only got like 30% of the people watching the videos that are actually subscribed to the channel, so that's much appreciated. And also, guys, if you want to get some lures that do not suck and they are not overrated, I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video. They got a big line of tackle, absolutely anything you'd ever need. They got a bunch of sales going on right now. Link in the description of the video there, so really appreciate that. Excuse me. Okay, guys, one of the things about it, the baits that I'm going to show you guys here, a lot of people are going to say, oh, Randy, you're full of it. You know, I've caught a lot of fish on those baits. These are baits that I'm talking about that, for the amount of attention they get and the amount of notoriety that they have, the actual amount of bass they put in the boat for you are far less than any other lures that I use. Because like anyone else, when I hear some hot lure or something like that, I want to give it a try as well. And the 5 that I pulled out here are ones that I've tried. People have talked about how great they are, and they're not that great. They're unbelievably overrated. So I'm sort of going to explain that in each one of them. Okay, guys, the first one let's talk about is the Whopper plopper. Now, granted, a Whopper plopper, like all these baits here, that catches fish, but in terms of the notoriety that a Whopper plopper has and how many people fish this thing, it is just not that great of a bait. I mean, it was when it first started coming out, but the problem with the Whopper plopper is the noise on it is got a very distinctive noise, and bass get conditioned to certain noises. And the Whopper plopper, it's a super aggressive bait, super distinct noise, makes a lot of noise, and the bass simply don't bite it as well as they used to. So given the fact that as many people throw this thing versus the number of fish that you catch on it, very, very limited, very overrated, very small window of the year that a Whopper plopper works really good, the first one. Okay, the next one are these super deep diving crankbaits like this. This is Strike King 10XD. These super deep 25 foot plus crankbaits. You hear a lot about this. There has been good strings caught on them, but guys, you go out and throw one of these big Strike King 10XDs or big giant crankbait, any of these super deep ones, and just see how many fish you're going to catch. Probably not very many. For as much as these things are talked about, again, the situation just has to be perfect for them. I've tried them, I've used them, I've caught a few fish on them, but nothing like what people talk about. So big, deep diving crankbait. Next one is a red Rattle Trap. Everybody, thinks red's the go-to color in spring. Rayburn red, you got to fish red in the springtime, got to fish a red Rattle Trap. I'll tell you one thing about red crankbaits and red, Rattle Trap, lipless crankbaits, square bills, whatever. When people say that they're catching them on red, there's usually always a better color. Red is one of the most overrated colors, in my opinion, because it has a very small window that it works in. And number 2, a lot of people fish it during that small window of time that it works in. So most of the time when everybody's throwing like a red Rattle Trap or a red crankbait, I'm throwing like a shad pattern, a perch pattern, or, some type of a, chartreuse side black back. I mean, I do use red occasionally, but for as much attention and notoriety and as many different red variations you have on the market, one of the most overrated lures, overrated colors that there are bass fishing. Okay, the next one, guys, another color type lure, what works good, is a bone-colored spook or walking topwater. For whatever reason, bone is like the go-to color that everybody uses. And guys, bone is my least favorite color for a topwater. It's like, this is like the only bone color one I own. I don't use bone hardly at all because I don't catch many fish on them. I think they are overrated color. A lot of other color options out there. There's a lot of more natural colors, translucent colors, different type, black ones, perch patterns, baby bass, but a bone colored topwater, in my opinion, is highly overrated. A lot of people fish it. I think a lot of reason that people fish this bone color is they can see it coming through the water real good, and they can see it moving back and forth, and maybe it looks good to them, or they hear people catching fish on them. But my opinion, bone, super highly overrated color. And finally, guys, probably the #1 most overrated lure category of all time is a big glide bait or a big swim bait. Any type of a glide bait or swim bait that's like over 7 inches long, we've seen an explosion of that on the market here the last 5 years or so. You know, all these realistic looking glide baits and realistic looking swim baits. I'm not talking about the ones that are under 7 inches. Those are some pretty consistent producers. But the big Mongo sizes, the big giant glide baits and swim baits, guys, are no doubt the most overrated lure category that there is out there. You can literally throw those things, you know, for 100 days in a course of a year, and you might catch a couple of fish on it. You know, they're fun to watch. I mean, when you're reeling a glide bait or a big swim bait through the water, it looks great. It looks like something live coming through the water, you know, and then if you see a big bass following the thing, you think that, you know, you're on the right track with that. But in terms of actually putting bass in the boat and catching bass, a big glide bait and a big swim bait, guys, is your lowest percentage lure out there, the most overrated lure category, in my opinion. So anyway, guys, that's it. I mean, those are my 5 out there. You know, the Whopper Plopper, red lipless crankbait, the big deep diving crankbait, super deep diving crankbait, bone colored topwater, big swim bait, big glide bait. You'd be a lot better off if you fish a shaky head, a wacky rig, a jig, you know, a square bill crankbait, you know, something like that, or, you know, soft plastic stick bait. You catch a lot more fish than you will on these right here. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, guys. We'll talk later.